that would lead me to believe that it is or isn't.
Yeah.
But I'm damn sure as hell not going to go find it out like you are.
So we're probably kind of more aligned, other than the fright part.
Okay.
Right? Because I'm the same way. Like, I'll go seek it out. Like we I'll go and do like the podcast on location, and we'll tell the stories. We're basically telling like the Copper Queen episode as an example. We're telling the stories of the Copper Queen in the Copper Queen with an SB7 spirit box, asking for those people from those stories to talk to us, right? But I won't go to the point of provoking them, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Right. I'm not going to go to the point of being like, "You asshole." Right? I'm not going to do that. I'm definitely going to say bye at the end too, just in case.
Yeah.
Like, you stay here.
Yeah.
Bye. Right? I'm not going to leave that doorway open.
Right.
Right.
You definitely, yeah. Don't let them leave a hat behind. You got to just say, "Hey, I've overstayed your welcome."
Just in case.
See you later.
Right? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm like, it might be real, it might not, but that's the really roundabout way of saying that, like the EMF stuff and all these different things. It's like kind of paranormal back to kind of really hard air quotes science, right? Paranormal science is just sciencey enough to try to sound believable, but completely lacks everything to actually be scientific.
With that point, with like the EMF monitoring, you really get into confirmation bias at that point. Like you're looking for something specific, and you'll jump on any inclination that it might be real.
Well, I think if you go and you actually watch like Ghost Adventures and you listen to like the EVP stuff, and they're saying that totally said your name, and it sounds nothing like it, right?
Just,
you're like, okay, yeah.
Did you hear it? It said it loves you. Yeah. It said it wants out. We need to save her. So I'm Native American, Navajo, and I have a lot of family and a lot of friends that have told me a lot of stories in the supernatural. And I was telling Sam that a huge part of it is we keep it real insular, because it is a part of our culture, but also we don't really talk about it because it would bring it upon us. Like, that's kind of our thought process.
Yeah.
And so you have this like draw to it where you seek it out and you want to learn more. Yeah. I'm the exact opposite, where it's a little taboo and it's almost borderline superstition. Because you don't want to bring it into your home. You don't like the Ouija board. I don't know anybody that has a Ouija board. Right. I have all the Native people I know. It's just like, we don't bring that into our house because that's like, why would you want to do that? Yeah. And I think when it comes, even like scary movies, I'll watch a gore movie all day, a thriller all day. As soon as it enters paranormal anything or UFOs, that side of my brain of like, you're bringing this into your home, I'm just like, fuck that.
Like, nope.
So I was telling Sam, like Paranormal Activity, it's a movie that was out there for a long time. Started out as like an indie movie, just published online, and they redid it and put it in theaters. Yeah. And you've seen that movie, right, Sam?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the provoking part, I'm glad you said you don't go and provoke it, because that's like the ultimate, like, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
You don't bring a Ouija board in your house. You're like, I really want to see what it wants. It's just like, geez, I'm glad you're just trying to like tap on the glass and be like, hey, are you actually alive? Are you moving?
Yeah.
And that's about it. You're not going to try to jump in the fish tank with it.
Yeah. Well, I think what's wild is when you see those movies. I think what's really cool is when you see the stuff that has like the Warrens. Like, when I think about like the what was their first names? I can't think of their first names, but the Warrens, like the famous paranormal investigators, the Warrens. So when you watch like the real life version of Annabelle, those folks that were like keeping, like the Warrens were real people. Like, those were actual real people.
That's why I don't watch it.
Like, a lot of people don't realize that those were actual real people. A lot of these kind of haunted. Let me throw the haunted doll plug out there. We need to do a haunted doll episode. But a lot of those things are like, those are based off of, again, hard air quotes, real stories, right? The dolls actually exist. Like, those are things. Like, Annabelle is real. Like, she does not look like that. She's more like this kind of Raggedy Ann kind of doll. I won't pull it up because
please don't. You know what's funny is these movies. So some of these movies I stumble on and just think like, it's not going to be that bad.
Yeah.
One of those, like Annabelle, just comes at me like as soon as I saw Insidious, all of those. As soon as I saw a trailer for that, I'm like, nope. But you seem like the kind of guy that's like, man, I wonder what that's all about. Push play.
Well, what's really interesting to me is those are like the skin crawl movies, right? Where you just kind of leaves you kind of, again, gore, kind of all this stuff. You can kind of watch it. But those still, I think anybody, right? If you have any bit of kind of belief, like you said, Insidious, The Conjuring, like kind of all these kind of movies that's like extra.
And so I've never seen any of these, just so everyone knows, but just the trailer itself. And I never go out and watch these on purpose. I'm watching a movie, and then the damn Conjuring trailer will come up, or Insidious, or La Llorona will show up, and I'm like, why am I in here? Like, why is there not an option to skip this? Yeah. Because I think because I'm so paranoid, because of my culture, because of my upbringing, that's what sticks with me at midnight when I'm laying in bed by myself, or I'm out, out camping.
Yeah.
And like then it just starts, gets in my head. So like when I saw so my two movies that do that for me that never, so there's three scenes actually, or three things. But the one that always gets to me is for some reason it gets in my head and I just can't get it out, and it takes like a week, is in Signs. You've seen Signs, the M. Night Shyamalan movie. When Mel Gibson, when Joaquin is putting his niece down to bed in their room, and I can't remember exactly, this is before they know about, this is right after they find out there's aliens around the world, like kind of goosebumps, remember this, but it was Mel Gibson, puts his daughter down, and he looks out the window, and he sees one standing on the barn, and he sees it standing on the barn, and he just like shoots up, and I hate that, because I can't ever not look at a rooftop at night ever again.
Things stick with you,
like that one sticks with me for some reason, and that it takes a while for me to forget that exists. Yeah. But when I remember it again, it just it sticks with me.
Yeah.
And then the Babadook, you've seen that?
Yeah.
Oh, that stuck with
Babadook.
me because I always took solace in the fact that I have a dog.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first, because that's the canary in the coal mine. I'm like, well, regardless of what happens. Or you're sitting in a dark house and you're just like, my dog's not freaking out, so clearly everything is good. That's like your security blanket.
But then you have the opposite of that, which is even worse when they are freaking out.
Yeah. Well, I would rather have them freak out, because I'm like, okay, at least I need to be on guard. At least I can arm myself and be somewhat ready, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, because at that point you're just reacting.
Yeah.
You're not really scared. You're not frozen in fear. But when you're just laying there and you hear stuff and the dog's not even barking, you're just like, oh, God.
Yeah.
But when the thing takes the dog out because it knows that that's going to be the canary in the coal mine, you're just like, oh, God.
Well, so it's funny because the dogs are the worst. That's the only time when I get that kind of instant sheer panic moment, especially at the house. So our dogs, they sleep right at the foot of the bed. So I have a Belgian Malinois and I have a Yorkie Poo. Total opposite dogs, right? But they sleep together at the foot of the bed. And we were just looking at dogs today like we needed a third freaking dog. Right? But so they do this thing where there's a bus stop right behind my house. And they're fine. Bus noises. It took the Malinois a month to get used to the freaking bus. It was awful. Because as soon as you hear that the air brakes release, she would be jumping through the roof thinking somebody's breaking into the house. They have these random nights to where we have some other dogs that are kind of around us, that if the right dog barks at the right time, they're on edge for the rest of the night.
Oh no.
Right. So I'm laying there the other night and it's just this random dead silence, total pitch black room. Just the middle of the night, just as you start to doze off. And the first instinct is oh shit, somebody's breaking into the house.
Yeah.
Right. So then you're kind of making your way down. I have stairs that go all the way down through my house. So I'm making my way down the stairs. Checking everything. It's okay, they're just being shitheads. But that is the most awful instant fright terror kind of feeling is pitch black, midnight, everybody's asleep, and then the dogs go nuts for absolutely no reason, right? I don't care who you are, that's going to make you shit yourself awake.
Have you ever had cats?
No.
So
I've had cats, but they've all been outside barn kitty cats.
Okay. We had up until I'd say this year, we eventually had to rehome our cats. They upgraded, pretty much. They went to a very well off family.
You guys later.
They went to a rich family,
See y'all.
and they are living it up. They have a bigger house than we do right now. They were barn cats. They which is where they should have. I shouldn't say should have been, but it's where they really wanted to be.
Yeah.
They were primarily indoor cats, so we got these things when they were like kittens.
Yeah.
And we've had them for about almost 5 years, and I've never slept better in those 4 to 5 years because exactly what you're saying. When the dog was going crazy, but the cats were still sleeping on the foot of our bed, I'm like, okay, they know that the dog is just being, a shithead basically.
Yeah.
And the cats, but it freaks you out because the dog will just, it's like the dog will just be chilling, hanging out, but then the cats will be both. They'll be both like staring at the corner of the room, and you're just like, "Oh God, what do they?"
That sounds like absolutely awful.
What do they see that I don't see? And then you're just waiting for them. You're like crossing your fingers that they'll run to the corner and like try to jump to the corner and swat a bug or something. But really, they are the best like canaries because they do really hear everything. They have better, they're hunters. They got better ears than dogs at times. It feels like. I mean, not better noses, but they can certainly hear better.
Well, that's honestly one of the biggest reasons why I love having dogs. I mean, that's I feel like we're pretty safe, but you always kind of worry about that. I don't know. I think that's just a normal human instinct. Is like you worry about someone like breaking into your house, right? And that's always nice to have the dogs because for it's like 99.9% of the time it's been false alarm, right? And then our Malinois, she's like straight up police dog. Like she is like, and she's like full on anxiety like a police dog. Like she sits there and goes in circles. Like we took her to the vet and they're like, you can't travel with this dog. She stays at the house. She's going to guard your house. Like that's going to be her life. And so like out of all those times that she's gone like batshit insane, she's like growling at the window, and I'm like, oh fuck, what's going on? This is like this has been months back. And so I go down and I kind of round the corner, and we have steps that lead down. It's almost like a split level, steps that lead down to like the front door. And I'm looking, and there's a lady like staring through the glass.
Oh shit!
Right, and I'm like, oh, nice, right, nice. So we go down, and I kind of crack the door open, right. And I know we're not really telling paranormal stories. This is more like true crime. Like I crack the door open, and it's just kind of an instinct, right? I kind of crack the door open, and I have my foot like right here to where she can't jar the door open, right? Yep. And as soon as I go to open it, she pushes it, right, and it catches my foot, and I'm like, nope, And then Jarrell comes down, and we're talking to her, and she's insane. She's literally insane, right? So she's shitbag insane. We live kind of in downtown, and with downtown comes a significant homeless population, which is a thing, but she's not homeless. She's just kind of insane, right? And I'm like, okay, what are you doing, lady? Like, what do you want? She's like, you're keeping my sister in there. And we're like, who? What are you talking about? We're having this conversation. Finally, like, Jarrell's like, he talks her down, shuts the door. She goes to the neighbor, pounds on the door, gets the same conversation.
Oh, wow.
And the neighbor's like, fuck off, right? She fucks off. She goes to the other neighbors, pounding on the door, same thing, right? And then finally she comes back, and she's like on her door, like with a vengeance. Right, and I'll just say at this time, I've acquired some force multiplication, and the lady is not coming through my front door. And when I go down and I have this conversation with her, there's about 5 inches of room between us at this point, an extra 5 inches of still between us. And I told her this. I'm like, if you try to push the door, my daughter's inside asleep, you will not make it any farther than the first step. Right, and she's like, and it goes insane again, right? And then she like leaves. She goes to the neighbors and she repeats the cycle.
Gosh.
Right? And she's picking up like rocks and throwing rocks at the houses. She goes out, like we call the police, and they're like, so I don't know, not to bash Phoenix PD too much, I guess, but like, oh yeah, we can respond in like an hour. So they gave us like an hour response time, right? I'm like, great. And then the lady goes out and lays down in the middle of the intersection.
God.
So that, again, really interesting, wild, wacky, twisting story to say that dogs are great for, I guess, ghost detection and for crazy, insane lady that's trying to break into houses to rescue her sister. I guess I'm like your sister is not inside. But so we would have never known. Like she could have totally, that's the worst fear, right? Somebody like breaks a window and is on top of you in your house before you kind of know that. So to have the dog kind of give us that pre-warning was like, you can tell, right? And so there's probably even a difference between, when they detect a person and maybe not so much of a person, but like it's just like the hair stands up on her back differently when there's someone actually there.